anyway, so let's go ahead, try to see where our ECU is. I'm gonna get close here. All right, so the ECU is right here under this plastic piece, so let's try to get that one out. So I'm going to take that, my little tools package. All right, so I'm going to remove the tools from here, and as you can see, it's really just a flat plastic base or a cover that basically hides the ECU underneath. So in order to take these ones out, this is what we have. Looks like maybe 8 mm. This one here, 8 mm sockets, we'll try that. Then this looks like 4 mm hex bolts. So we'll have to take those ones out. And we need to move these plastic pieces out, and for that we also have to remove this piece here. And for these, we're looking at these 4 mm trim, or this fairing piece, which is basically kind of winglet in the rear. So anyway, so in order to get those out right here, so we have 1, 2, and then we've got like one screw here, and the same on the other side, and then we also have this plastic trim pieces that will come out. So let me see if I can get this any better. Okay, so I think this should be good. Let me go ahead and get the tools. So this is all the tool we're going to need. This is really just to push the plastic tabs out. This one here. We don't really need a screwdriver per se. Then we're going to need a 8 mm socket. That is for the bolts. And then we're going to need the 4 mm hex socket, the Allen key. We will start with getting these bolts out on the top. So that's the 4 mm on the fairing. Let's go ahead and do that. And be careful, these do have a little plastic spacers, so don't lose them. We're going to use that, we will need it. All right, so we got the 2 from the back out, and two, 4, and then we've got 2 right here, these 2 if you see. So I'm gonna get those. All right, so the 6 of the screws are out. These and these are basically is ready to come out, except we still have this little plastic tab. So the technique to do this is like just gently, slowly push it in, and then kind of pick it up. And when we put this back, before we put it, we kind of push it back out, then it goes in place, and then we press on this. I'll show you when we reinstall it. Same thing we're going to do on the other side. So maybe the camera isn't showing, but this is the one that we're going to push a little bit. Just wait for that click, and then I'm going to pick it up. Once that is done, we will go ahead and carefully remove this piece here. Again, it is all plastic, so just be careful not to force anything too much. And that will probably end up breaking things. So there, as you can see, it did come out. It has two rubber grommet, and right here, let me show you guys. I need the camera to move. So as you can see, that's why I was saying you have to be careful. So this plastic piece, when it was sitting like this, those two holes basically lined up on these two plastic tabs. Just keep that in mind. I'm going to put the plastic trim aside, and let me mount the camera. So one side is out. Same exercise for the other side. Now I do want to make sure I pull the keys back out, and slowly we do the same thing. And since this is actually tied to the, I want to say, the key housing, this side of this fairing, this piece, I'm not going to take this one out completely, but I still have to push and make sure that tab is detached from here. And almost, yep. And I'm gonna pull this out. So this is the piece you want to get out of your way. So I'm going to leave this one here. As you can see, I hope you can. Let me actually show you guys what we're talking about. So on the left side, on the fairing, this is why we did not pull this all the way out. This is connected to this latch, and this is the rear seat lock. So all I did, I basically just kind of move it away and got those out of the way. The other thing we have after this is really kind of going into getting this piece here out, these 4 8mm bolts. So you're going to take those out. Something to keep in mind here, you guys, there is a relay and this switch here. The orientation of this switch, keep that in mind. Don't move this around too much, and this relay as well. I think this is what detects how or how much the bike is leaning, and if somehow it gets kind of falls in, or it's twisted or turned, it may create a problem later for you guys to start the engine. Let's go ahead, get this out. And I do see some thread lockers in this. There could be more than one reason why Kawasaki decided to put it. So that thread locker there could be to protect it from vibration and the bolts coming loose, because it is keeping ECU, basically the brain of the bike, in place. Or it could also be a way for them to detect, for the dealers to see that actually this area was opened, and that means maybe someone played with the ECU, and that has something to do with the warranty coverage. We go, all 4. I think from the screws and nuts and bolts point of view, that's all we had. Now let's very carefully, I'm gonna take this and take these relays out. I really don't know which or what these relays are for, but I'm gonna just move it away So we can take this piece completely. Yeah, I should just unplug this. Yeah, that's easier. So just push and pull, get this out of the way. And now we can see the ECU right here. This is the ECU, or the brain. Now the other thing that we have to do, these two bolts, if you can see here, they are kind of keeping this in place. So I'm going to try to move this latch out of the way to get access to this. Looks like this is also 8 mm. We just have to kind of get a screwdriver strong enough to pull this out of the way. It is tight. I don't think I have to move both of them. Just one should work. But I do feel this thing is really tight, and I can see these things are, they already looks like it's ready to slip. So I'm gonna have to be very careful getting those out, making sure it's not slipping. And so flips, yeah, flip head number 3 is what I'm hoping will work, but I will need to use the ratchet. So let me change this setup a little bit, and let's see. You can see once again, this is flip head number 3. I'm gonna have to push it down so it doesn't slip. Yeah, number 2 will cause it to kind of slip, the head of this screw. Even this one here looks very risky. I don't know why they made it so soft. Anyway, I'm gonna try to take the other one out. There is no turning back from here. The other one is okay. Looks like the first number 2 that I used, that caused some issues, and that's probably might have really, I shouldn't have used that. So keep that in mind. It's number 3, not number 2. I'll have to find a better bolt for that area later. I'm sure I will find it at Home Depot or something. There it is. This also had a thread locker. So with that being said, I'm not going to take this one out. I'm going to leave it there. It's only loose enough for me to kind of twist this way to get access to these 2 bolts. And with the head being scratched like that, I don't want to risk kind of getting stuck. I will go to Home Depot or Ace Hardware, find another piece basically like this, and then maybe at that time I'll get this one out and put a better bolt than just something that strips that quick. Anyway, so we are good, but that is a good learning. Keep in mind, it's flip head number 3, and at the same time it's really soft, so be careful. Now going here, uh, grabbed an extension. It is still 8 mm. All right. So this is what keeps the ECU in place. We'll have to take it out all the way. So what I'm seeing here is this thing here is sitting in this slot. So I'm not gonna rip, I'm gonna just push it to the side. Here, basically out of the way, it's still not, doesn't want to come out, but I'm pretty sure this will allow the ECU to move and we can pull the ECU out. But before that, we have to disconnect the cables. Let's go ahead and disconnect the cables. I'm trying to see if there is any. All right, so let me show you guys what we have to do with the cable. So this piece here came out of this area to keep the cables, like this one here. Just remember, if that falls, you're gonna have to put that one back there. All right, so I got some light for you guys here just to show you how to get these cables disconnected, because if you break this, it's gonna get very expensive. And the other thing is, this locks in with the ECU, so you definitely don't want a broken connector which doesn't always which may get loose with a vibration and comes off, and then your bike basically dies, right? So in order to get this out, you will see a little notch right here and there's this little arrow. So we need to pull this to the other side, but right now it's locked. So I'm going to use this screwdriver and I'm going to push on this area here, and now if you can see, so easily it just comes out. I'm going to go all the way out and then I'm going to get this basically out of the way, and that's it. And when we connect this back, we do the same thing. So here, and at this point we also have our this little thing coming off. This is what was keeping this connector literally right here connected to ECU. So it's just that important that Kawasaki has 2 or 3 safety feature right here. So I'm gonna move this off out of the way. Same thing here. I'm gonna push this a little bit and get this out. I don't need the screwdriver anymore. And the other thing, maybe getting this piece out after you get the cable out would probably make more sense, but that's part of the learning, because when I'm pushing this, it's kind of whole thing is moving. You don't want that. That will be much easier anyway. So yeah, so went ahead, pull these two. If you can see, this is basically the piece of mechanism that keeps it in place, locked. So once I pull this, basically that's it. That is all that we have for the ECU here, and your ECU is all free to come out at this point. Just be careful, it's a little tight in there. So this is where this little piece was sitting, just like that, keeping them all in one place. But yeah, so there you go. Once you have, so yeah, so this is where this thing was. Once again, just make sure your connectors, this piece here, it's I'll put it back here so dust and all that doesn't get in. And after you pull the ECU out, You are good. This is what we need to send. I'm gonna pack these nicely, make sure these pins don't get damaged in the shipment. I'm gonna have to wrap this as well. Make sure these, I mean, they have the cables there. You won't be mixing things up, but that's pretty much all we have for getting the ECU out. You guys, I'm gonna get this flashed, and once it's back, I will show you guys when we do the reinstallation. That will wait for now. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Just a couple of notes here. As I said, make sure you're using a tool to get this out really carefully. Number two, do this first. Get the cables disconnected first. That's going to make more sense. Number two, here, be careful with these. These are really, really soft metal. I don't know why they have it, but anyway. So be careful with that. And number, I think 3 or 4. So just be careful with your fairings and the tabs that they have on the sides here. And the other thing, these relays and these 3, I don't know which one specifically, but feels like this might be the one, and this one that kind of detects your lean on the bike. So if it is not kept the same orientation, or if you disconnect it while the battery is connected, it's going to start throwing error. And worst case, it will actually not turn on the engine, because that's the safety feature. If the bike goes down, it detects that the bike is actually on the ground, and it will kill the engine. It won't let you start the engine. So anyway, that's all for now. We'll see you guys again in a short bit, couple of days, when we do the work and finish this particular project here.